Lights, camera, action!
Oh man. So the other day someone posted, I'm so old I still call FedEx office Kinko's. And I had to laugh, and I think I definitely liked the post, and I think I shared it because, yeah, I'm that old as well. I still call it Kinko's. I mentioned FedEx office because I'm on my way to pick up some printouts. Shout out to Kinko's for the extortion. I was trying to get them done tonight. I was just like, yo, whatever. If I can't get them tonight, this is pretty much they're gonna be useless to me. They called me back and they were just like, we got you. But when you get here, you gotta pay like an additional $17.50. I was like, why? I was like, is that a rush job fee? And they're like, yeah, it's a rush job fee. So yeah, if I didn't need these things tonight, and this is my fault for placing the order late and trying to get them tonight, but still, I never had FedEx Kinko's do me like this before. Tommy! So got the copies. I talked to homeboy at FedEx. He was just like, yeah, man. He was just like, if I don't charge you, my boss is gonna get mad at me. I'm like, all good. My fault for making the late rush request. What's funny is I had like a coupon code too, so I got 25% off of the order. With him charging that fee, it all came out to be like this. Like I ain't getting no discount. All good, all good. If you're wondering what was so important that I had to get printed, so my script, Azalea. I found that having printed copies, well, it does a number of things. First, it really does like legitimize you in some people's eyes because they can see it. It's one thing to walk around and say, oh, I'm a writer, or I've been writing, or I've written something. But when you give them or show them something that's tangible, something that's real, then all of a sudden they see you differently. They see like your project or your script differently. They see your story differently. They tend to take you a little more seriously. At least that's been my experience. And it's probably because I'm in LA where everyone, says that, oh, they're working on a script or they've got a script. And again, if it's just like on your hard drive or, a PDF somewhere, people, for whatever reason, people are just like, oh, okay. But when they see like an actual script printed out, bound with brads and washers, they're just like, oh, you really are a writer, aren't you? Perception is everything, friends. I'm letting y'all know perception is everything. Speaking of Azalea, I want to let y'all know that, yeah, I went ahead and did it. And by it, you should already know what that is, because it's probably going to be the title of this video. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyway. I submitted Azalea for the Nicholl Fellowship, which means I had to go through the Blacklist. So yes, paid $30 to host the script and another $100 for that evaluation so that I could submit to the Nicholl Fellowship, which is fine. I was unclear in the beginning as to whether I would have to pay for the evaluation, hosting, and like another entry fee, because Nicholl already carried, I think, like $100 entry fee. I think that's how much it was. And then there was extra if you wanted to get feedback from the readers. But since this just seems to be like, that's all you have to do is just like, pay the hosting and the evaluation for Blacklist, I'm just like, all right, whatever. I was going to spend the money anyway, so whatever, fine. So we shall see, friends. We shall see. I got in there because, they're only accepting like 2,500 entries. And first day, I think, they had like 1,500 submissions. So yeah, if you haven't done it yet, you might want to check to see if you want to do it. You might want to check to see if you still can. But yeah, I threw my hat in the ring, or rather, my script on the site. Now, I've talked about my previous Blacklist experience. It was what it was. Ultimately, the script that I submitted, which is my horror comedy Potter's Field, got a score of 6. And, with the Blacklist, if you get a score of 8 or above, then whatever. I don't know. I think they used to include your name in like an email to their industry insiders. They try to promote your script, so that whoever, their insiders are, their producers, managers, agents, whoever, has has like those privileges, they can read your script and reach out to you and maybe decide, hey, we want to work with you. We want to buy your script. We want to rep you, whatever. And recently, there was some news, like a script that had gotten discovered via the Blacklist is now that film is being released. And I think the movie is the John Madden movie starring Nicolas Cage. I need to look that up. Let me look that up. Okay, so yeah. The script is called Madden, and it is basically the story of like how legendary NFL coach John Madden teams up with, I guess it says, a mild-mannered Harvard programmer to like create the Madden football game. Apparently that's what the script is about. It's written by Cameron Clark. And script was discovered on the Blacklist and went into production last year with Nicolas Cage starring as John Madden. And, it's really interesting. So I saw a thread on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I saw a thread on Twitter. Franklin Leonard, who is the founder of the Blacklist, he's touting the success story like, hey, Madden, how it started and how it's going, right? And someone started to question him. They were going at him just like, look, I think the Blacklist is, whatever. And they bring up the point of hosting and, all that stuff. And I gotta say, Franklin did make, in my opinion, kind of like a compelling, he gave a compelling reason as to why, there are these fees and everything. And he says, part of the reason we charge the hosting fee is as a direct disincentive against people uploading material that they themselves don't believe in. And also so that we can provide an infrastructure like the website, high quality customer service, our labs, partnerships, etc., etc. And I gotta say, that kind of hit different for me. Disincentivize people from uploading material they don't believe in. You're not going to waste $30 a month hosting your script on a site if you yourself don't think that your script is worth it, I mean, I guess that there are people who are, whose scripts are not good and they are delusional enough to think that, yes, this is my strongest work or whatever. But I feel that. I absolutely feel that. I saw that and I was just like, I believe in Azalea. I think that this is a good script. And look, the feedback that I've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive. So it's just like, all right, if these people, and I gotta tell y'all, and I'm gonna make a video about Azalea, I'm gonna tell y'all what's happened with it and kind of its journey so far. But yeah, again, I believe in the script. I have no problem with dropping, $30, on hosting if it means that it will actually get discovered. So we'll see. I am interested in seeing what the evaluation comes back, what the score is. Because folks who've read it, actors, producers, people who are in the industry who've read Azalea, they're just like, this is dope. This might be the one. So we shall see. Again, we shall see. And I guess we'll also see what happens with the Nicholl Fellowship. Because I think only 25 scripts will move on from the Blacklist into Nicholl. The other entrants are going to come from whatever schools and whatever the fuck else. They've really just kind of messed up the whole Nicholl Fellowship, the submission process and everything, in my opinion. But I said to myself, this year I was going to try to get my work out there more, in front of more people, in front of more eyes. I wanted to enter more contests, even though contests really ain't, but it's really just to get the work and my name out there. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't do what I wanted to do last year. This year I'm going to do it. I was like, I got a script that I feel like probably kill like in these contests, these competitions, or that would probably resonate with whoever decides like who gets fellowships and you know, all that good stuff. And it just feels like they're switching everything up on us. They're changing everything. But whatever. You know, I said I was going to enter Nicholl this year, and despite the changes, despite how unhappy I am with how they're going about it, still going to do it. So, still did it. So yeah, we'll see how well Azalea does in the Nicholl. We'll see what score I get in this evaluation. And you know what? We're also just going to see how well it does in the real world, because start pushing it, start getting it out there. Like I said, I'm going to make a video about Azalea's journey so far. It's been interesting. I'll say that. It's been interesting. All right, friends. Till next time.